much I was fairly healthy. 2010, I started having like severe migraine.
After my son's birth, my wife started getting a lot of health issues. And initially, we thought it was just an extension from the pregnancy and complications. And this is when Rahila's health really started going down.
I actually used to get like regular checkups and get my blood work done every 3 months, you know, the way it's supposed to be. I didn't feel like myself. I didn't feel 100%. I was like, something is wrong with me. And I kept going. And a couple of weeks later, I went in for my regular routine checkup. And as soon as I got home, I got a call from my doctor that you need to come back. The doctor walked in and she told me you have low platelets. A normal platelet count is from 150,000 to 400,000. At that point, mine was 53, which is not extremely dangerous, but under 50 is when you're put on a medication. Under 30 is when the doctors are really like concerned for you, and if you are under 10, you're hospitalized. Under 5, you can pretty much bleed from anywhere. Like you would start bleeding from your brain. Even if you get a cut, your body's not going to be able to clot.
मुझे पता चला कि मेरे हाथ में पेन था. मैं उसके लिए जो है वो अर्जेंट केयर गई तो डॉक्टर ने कहा कि अल्ट्रासाउंड करवाना है कि ये क्यों है. तो जब मैं अल्ट्रासाउंड के लिए गई तो वहाँ उन्होंने मुझे कहा कि लाइक अल्ट्रासाउंड के लिए आई हो तो मेमो भी करवा लो. मेमो करवाया तो मुझे पता चला कि लाइक देयर इज़ समथिंग सस्पिशियस. तो वहाँ से फिर जब बायोप्सी हुई तो मेरा फिर पॉजिटिव था कैंसर.
Oncologist said she's actually on too advanced. It had actually spread to her lymph nodes.
मैं बहुत बीमार फील करती थी. मेरी हड्डियों में पेन हो रहा है, मुझसे काम नहीं हो रहा, कुछ भी मैं सही से नहीं कर सकती थी, मैं फोकस भी नहीं कर सकती थी.
I asked my doctor like what to do next. She's like, oh, we'll see, we'll watch you how it goes, and we might put you on medication. So after that, did a bunch of tests, and the doctor called me and told me you had lupus, and I was like, what does that mean? I've heard about it.
Lupus is an autoimmune disorder where it's a diagnosis of exclusion where you have, one of the things we check is ANA to see if your body has function in terms of like recognizing self as foreign and attacking it. And that's a diagnosis of exclusion that sometimes patient can get as lupus. Lupus is generally not curable, but it's something that you can give treatment to control.
She sent me something, and the lifespan in there was 1.5 to 3 years. My doctor told me, whatever time I have left, just enjoy it with your kids. But that question just kept on, just like burning me inside, literally, that what next, Okay, I'm trying to enjoy my time with my kids, but there should be something else. There should be another option. I started a lot of research, because from childhood we have heard this saying, and it's a part of our faith too, every disease has a cure except for old age and death. And I started praying to God, if there is anything out there, I need to know.
Basically, if you have lupus, then you are trying to give medication to suppress your immune system from targeting other organs.
I knew that she had an autoimmune disease, and I knew that they were constantly shifting the diagnosis between lupus and ITP. Now, the problem is that when you're dealing with an autoimmune disease, what happens is you don't know the root cause of why your immune system is acting against your body. And so what happened is they just started treating the symptoms, and in the process of treating those symptoms, her health started getting worse and worse and worse. First, she started losing her eyesight. Then she started her hearing, her liver, her kidney. She couldn't drive the car anymore. And with no exaggeration, I could see my wife dying every single day.
One of the doctors in our family is a very senior surgeon. He saw her reports privately. He was talking to me, and he said, listen, this type of cancer, this particular type, HER2 positive, at this young age, it's good to be positive, but be ready.
It was a routine. I would go in from my blood work, come back home, and within half an hour, 45 minutes, I got a call that you need to come to the hospital right now. Your platelets are under 10. I had to leave my kids with somebody, and knowing that I might not make back ever. And I remember hugging them, not knowing that, is this the last hug? And I remember my husband's like, let's go, let's go, let's go. And I did not tell my husband that I am given a timeline, because I did not want that energy around me. I did not want him to be sad or depressed or just be in that energy, because I needed that push. He was my biggest support. He was the only person there, helping me out. And I found out this can be fatal. This could be the end. I promised myself I'm going to fight, and I'm not going to tell anybody just yet until a doctor says, oh, you don't have it anymore. I told my doctor, I went to a naturopathic doctor, he told me to do this, this, this. And she's like, you're never going to go back to him again, and you're not listening to this crap.
I come from a medical family. My sister, my uncles, my cousins, everyone's almost a doctor. And we've been trained since we were kids, right? You listen to what the doctors have to say. And I was adamant that we have to do exactly what the medical professions are telling us.
I remember one argument. It was a very harsh one, and that person was a doctor. She was really mad at me. She's like, you need to stop what you're doing. You need to just take medication and just listen to the doctors. I'm like, I am listening to the doctors. If I need medication, I am taking it. It's not like I completely stopped everything, but I'm still going to do my diet.
As I followed medical advice and I saw Rahila's health go worse to worse to worse, I gave up and I just started listening to my gut.
That's when I just completely changed everything. Switched to organic, clean. It was vegan diet. I did a detox. I did nutrition, hypernutrition, which we call now, is basically giving you a lot of nutrients in a concentrated form, which can be, juice form. It helped, In a week, my platelets went up to 205. That's where I was like, okay, I cannot let this go. I just have to be on this diet, and I have to make myself healthier, back on my feet again.
As Rahila was on her journey back to health, is that we changed everything in our home, right? So when we changed what we were eating, it was not just her, it was everybody in the house. What we were cooking in, the things that we were consuming, everything, we all changed. So the things that I felt right away is that I probably lost about 25 to 30 pounds right away, without even trying. Why would we be taking such a risk? And the point is, there was a possibility when we, if you were to follow traditional medicine, you could maybe get better. But the difference is that we were seeing every day, by making the changes that we were too big to not bring in full time. As her illness progressed and we started discovering new things, our circle expanded. And we brought in people that were more into holistic healing and more into just an overall positive outlook on life. And what that did was that it gave us hope. And that hope was probably the most important fuel that we needed to get through the experience.
जो है वो सबसे पहले क्योंकि राहिला को टेक्स्ट किया, वैसे ही हम बात कर रहे थे, तो मैंने इससे पूछा क्या हाल है. मैंने बताया कि मेरी इस तरह बायोप्सी हुई है. इसने कहा जब रिज़ल्ट्स आए तो मुझे बताना. तो जब रिज़ल्ट्स आए तो मैंने इसको टेक्स्ट किया कि मेरा पॉजिटिव आया, और इसने तो मुझे बेसिकली बताया था कि लाइक बस जो शुगर खा रही हो उसको बंद करो और अपनी डाइट चेंज करो. दैट्स इट. मुझे नहीं पता था कि जो है वो शुगर कैंसर को फीड करती है. इन्होंने जिस तरह एक दोस्त को बताएगा जिसके पास नॉलेज होगी, तो वो यही कि तुम ये कर लो, इससे तुम देखो तुम्हारी बॉडी तुम्हें बताएगी कि क्या सही है और क्या गलत है. और जब मैंने बेसिक चीज़ें छोड़ी, जैसे चीनी छोड़ दी बिल्कुल, और मैं ग्रीन्स पे आई, मैंने फ्रूट का इंटेक ज़्यादा किया और ग्रीन्स का इंटेक किया, मैंने रोटी चावल छोड़ दिए, और मैं ऐसा फील करती थी कि लाइक मैं बिल्कुल एक सुपर वुमन हो गई हूँ. मैं सारे अपने घर के काम कर रही हूँ, बच्चों को पिक एंड ड्रॉप कर रही हूँ, सफाइयाँ कर रही हूँ, और मैं सब कुछ जो है वो एक टाइम पे कर सकती थी.
When she actually spoke to Rahila and she started eating better, she actually was in the best of her health. And this time is between her diagnosis and chemo. Like immediately, she was feeling so good, so well. And then I thought, okay, I don't know if this is going to cure her cancer or not, but definitely it will help her cope with the chemo.
And I'll give an interesting story. I had moved to Dubai in 2014 for work, and I moved my family with me. And it's a really interesting incident. So we were in the hospital for regular blood work for Rahila. This was 2015. The doctor is sharing the results with us, and I'm looking at Rahila, and the color is changing on her face. She was going red and then white and red and white. I wasn't sure. Is she happy? Is she crying? What's going on with her? And at that point, the doctor was like, you have never had lupus. You cannot have lupus. If you had lupus, you would have the proteins for it. And come from the States, the doctor said that there's no way that you're going to heal it.
And I was like, what did you say? He said it, you don't have it, you don't need to worry about anything. And I looked at my husband, and my husband did not know because I didn't tell him, I was given a timeline. And I was so happy, and he was just confused, but that's when, it was official. I don't have it.
And when the doctor came back and confirmed that there was absolutely no autoimmune, that's when she shared with me that the doctors had given her 1.5 years to live, and that was 6 or 7 years ago. And we had a really emotional moment, because I have to tell you, I broke down. I had no idea what Rahila had gone through all by herself. All by herself.
When it comes to science and you want to study something, you always use one thing that you want to study, and then you compare it with something which you call a placebo. So placebo may not be anything or maybe everything, but the point is that it can be just water. So that placebo effect that we talk about is the effect that comes from your thought process, your thinking, your mental condition.
You can potentially decrease the risk of having some type of diseases because of your lifestyle, but then your body needs nutrients, do its respective jobs. If we deprive it of respective nutrients, then we become deficient, and then we have this equilibrium in our body, homeostasis, that we potentially affect.
I actually believed that it can really help with the cancer was when after her treatment, after her chemo, her main tumor was completely gone. That doesn't happen. The doctors were like, this is the best that can happen to you.
मेरा रिएक्शन बहुत खुश थी मैं, क्योंकि मुझे पता था I will fight it.
You typically talk to doctors in Western medicine. They don't talk about the impact on physiology that emotions have. They only talk about the physical. But the emotional part is so important in healing, and so important to actually release a lot of those negative emotions. Typically in Western medicine, what happens is that they really like to label ADHD, lupus, autoimmune, diabetes, and whatnot. And that is so harmful because what happens is that the recipient of that label really internalizes that, and that becomes their identity. And if they start identifying as a person with lupus, decisions that they make, behavior, everything that they do, is assuming that they have the illness and they will continue to have that illness. It's really important to be there for your loved one, regardless of how hard it might be. Because in our case, the doctors gave up, the status quo system gave up, our families and friends gave up. But Rahila never gave up. She didn't accept any kind of label, and she rejected everything, and she overcame everything. And I, as her husband, I feel what I could do for her was support her in every way possible.
The question is, what is disease? Disease is a toxicity of that system or that organ. You remove the toxicity, you give body good nutrition, and your body's gonna regenerate like good healthy cells. I'm a certified raw nutritionist as well. When you are on raw diet, you're like, you feel like you just want to fly. You have so much energy, you are so positive. Processed food was created to have better shelf life. Natural life food will go bad. 40 years ago, wheat had 4 chromosomes. That's natural, right? But now it has more than 40 for better shelf life, for better growth, bigger size, more yield, more profit. Okay, there's some recipe, there's some stuff, but then there are chemicals added for flavoring, coloring, preservatives, that our body does not know what to do with it. So it recognizes it as toxin. It kind of wraps it in fat and stores it somewhere. And that's why, the most common places are like around the belly. And, that's how people start to gain weight. And when they do detox, what happens is, the fat cell kind of break, the toxin is released, and the fat is gone. The fat does not have a purpose, so it's released and people lose weight.
Only thing she can actually fight it with right now is by eating more and more natural foods, staying away from processed foods. Why are the cancer rates higher in developed countries? What are we doing that the developing countries are not? We eat more packaged food, we eat more processed food, we live with more chemicals, we live with more plastics, and these are all known carcinogens. Cut down on that, cut down on sugars, eat more natural foods. The cancer actually has less chances of coming back.
Somebody's really, really sick, they need to change everything overnight or, more rapidly. But if you're normal, healthy, just change one thing at a time. Take baby steps. I don't like, when people say, oh, so what kind of diet are you on? Or what diet are you going to put me on? I don't like the word diet in general. It should be a lifestyle change. And diets don't work, because you do it for like a week or 2 or 3. Let's say something like keto. It is very rigid. It's extreme. You are taking one subgroup, like carbs, completely out. But what's going to happen when you put it back in? People always gain all that weight back. What happens is when you actually gain all that weight back, you're not motivated enough to go back to any healthy diet again, because that was so hard. Keto is not easy. It's just like completely omitting all the carbs. Okay, you're going to lose the weight because it's like a hack, but it's not a lifestyle. I don't have like rigid boundaries. I have boundaries. I know this is something I'm not going to have that's causing inflammation in my body, and that you understand by testing, and I would recommend not testing a bunch of things. A lot of people like go on elimination diet and then they add a lot of things back together and they don't know what's causing what. So just test one ingredient 1 week or the other week, and second and the third, so you know what's actually agreeing with your body and what's not.
The one thing that I will love to add is rocket fuel for healing is gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most important aspects of bringing your life back into balance. Celebrate and enjoy every small thing. Look at what you have, not what you don't have. Look at the people that don't have what you have. And when you're appreciative and you have gratitude for everything, it brings all of those positive things into your life. We attract what we believe. If you're in a bad mood, if you're in a hurry for an interview, you're going to get every single light red, right? Because you're stressed out. That's the energy that you're putting out there. When you're in a positive mood and a positive, optimistic attitude, your lens on life is a half glass full, not a half glass empty. What happens is that you attract all of those positive things in your life. When I call someone and they don't pick up the phone, I can say to myself, they're avoiding me. I might have done something and my day is going to be completely worthless. Or I can give that person benefit of the doubt and say, hey, he probably forgot his phone somewhere. And I can tell myself that story and I can feel great and I can have a great day. You're bringing this positive, optimistic energy throughout the day. And I think this really made a big difference. Yes, nutrition made a big difference. Detoxing made a big difference. Sleeping made a big difference. Cooking in the right dishes made a big difference. But this made a big difference too. Just knowing that my body is capable of healing itself, truly believing it, your body will do more wonders for you. What you tell your body is going to do for you. This is some of the learnings that me and Rahila had as we went through this experience. Be grateful for every small thing that you have in life.